Welcome everybody to the 2023 Honda HR-V. This is Honda's compact crossover and it's a pretty important car in Honda's lineup because it sort of makes it like the entry point for people who want to buy Honda cars. So let's see if this car is the perfect first car for any person in Canada. The front end of the Honda HR-V stands out on the road. It's got lots of cuts and creases in the bumpers, but there are some elements that will remind you of other cars. Like the headlight reminds you of the Ford Escape. Maybe it's just me, but I've been looking at this car for a week now and I feel like it reminds me of the Escape. The bumper shape, with especially where the Honda emblem is, reminds me of the Lamborghini Urus. So the combination of the headlight and the bumper, it actually does look like a baby Urus. Not a bad thing actually, because the Lamborghini Urus is a very handsome looking car and something this car would never be compared ever to. You've got a nice big grille which looks like a mesh grille, but it's actually painted all gloss black, and you've got lots of cuts and creases to make sure this car stands out on the road. The side profile of the HR-V is when you realize that this is a compact crossover, but you can see Honda is focused on cabin space by looking at the wheelbase. The overhangs are very small, so the priority was space for the passengers inside, and I think Honda has done a good job because the earlier HR-V was based on the Honda Jazz/Fit platform, which is smaller. This is based on this new Civic, which is already a great starting point, and it's visible in the side profile. There are no cuts and creases as such. It's a very simplistic side profile, but Honda has done a good job by keeping it simple yet attractive. The alloy wheels are 18-inch wheels, which are a bit of a mixed opinion because sometimes they look actually like wheel caps. They don't actually look like alloys, so maybe a better design for the alloys would have actually looked better. There is some cladding on the fender. Since this is the top end EXL, it's painted to body color, but other variants you can see a distinct, especially on a different color of the exterior, it would be more prominent. Again, just simple cuts and creases on the car, but it works well. Good job Honda by designing the side profile. The rear of the HR-V again is a distinct improvement from the rear of the previous HR-V. It looks really good. It's got nice LED taillights with smoked effect and just basic badging that tells you Honda and HR-V. The all-wheel drive badge is actually on the rear windscreen. The rear wiper sticks out like a sore thumb because nowadays brands are integrating it into the rear spoiler, which this car has, so it could have been integrated a bit more better, but at least it's there, so that's a bonus there. You've got some fog cladding on the rear to give it that little crossover credential, but yeah, it's very simplistic, but it looks really good, and just like the front, stands out on the road. Now I'm inside the 2023 Honda HR-V, and as you can see, it's based on the Civic and it shows in the interior. This mesh pattern, this steering wheel very much resembles to the Honda Civic, which again is really not a bad thing because it's a great looking interior and it's very functional as well. The screen is a 9-inch screen, so it's got wireless Apple CarPlay, which is only available on this EXL top variant, and it's got everything. You've got the steering control buttons for the adaptive cruise and everything. You've got the dual zone AC, so you can control everything. You've got a nice little gear lever, which is, I feel like, is a little too high. Maybe a little smaller one would have been nice. You've got a floating console, so you can put stuff in between. Charging ports on both sides, which is very unique, and a charging port up front with a wireless charger as well, because you can put your phone in the tray. You've got two cup holders. You've got a small armrest here to put some stuff. It's practical. It feels really nice. You've got nice dosage of leather all around, so this is all leather. The seats are leather, which look really good and are a bit stiff, I would say, because this is manual seat. So this is manual. The driving seat is also manually adjustable, and there is no lumbar support. So sometimes if you're used to lumbar support, it can get a bit annoying, especially on long drives, but otherwise the seat looks very premium. You've got leather on the doors as well, all around the doors. The steering wheel, you've got gloss black at some places, which enhances the premium effect this car is trying to put out, which is again a good job. You'll miss paddle shifters, so there are no paddle shifters, but you've got everything else and it looks really functional and it works well. To be very honest with you, after living with it for a week, I'd say the interior is a strong point of this car. Space is really good. Also, one odd thing I'll find is that the pedal placement, especially if you're wearing boots, because it's, you know, it's the winters and it's been snowing lately, so I've been driving with my winter boots. The pedal placement is a little too tight. Like the brakes and the accelerator, the footwell is a bit cramped. I can only imagine if this car was available in a manual, it would have been really bad, because the dead pedal is huge. The dead pedal can take my whole boot. I'm not even kidding. So they could have perhaps better managed the space in the footwell. Otherwise, that's also nitpicking, to be very honest with you. But yeah, overall the space and everything, the ambience inside is really premium, and good job by Honda by shifting from the older platform to the new Civic platform, because that just improves the starting point, you know, to, you know, make the whole car much better. Now I'm in the rear of the Honda HR-V, and as you can see, this driving seat is for my driving position. I don't drive too laid back, but space is not an issue. Knee room, headroom is really good. I'm 5'8", I have enough headroom. I think a bit of a taller person can also sit without brushing their head. Under thigh support is fabulous. The backrest is really good. The seat itself is really good. The windows are pretty big. It's not a panoramic sunroof, so sometimes, because this has the privacy glass, it might feel a bit dark with all the black interiors. But again, it's very nice and spacious for two people. The middle seat is very small, and I don't know if a third person is welcome, even though there is a headrest, but I think it's suitable for kids. And that's where I think the good stuff ends for the rear, because there is no rear AC vents, no charging ports. You just have this one dummy storage, no heated seats in the back, because the Civic gets it, so I was hoping this would get it. No seat back pockets for the driver, only one seat back pocket, and you have no armrest. Like, I'm not even kidding, I don't remember the last time I saw a car that does not have an armrest. That's shocking omission from Honda, actually. Like, what a weird cost cutting technique that is, honestly. The things that matter are really good, but these additional things have now become increasingly important over the years, and the fact that this car doesn't have it, it's a bit shocking, because this is the top of the line EXL variant, so I was hoping this would have everything. So it's really shocking that it doesn't have basic amenities in the back. However, again, I would reiterate, the seat itself and the space is top-notch for two people, and Honda has done a great job with the packaging of the space inside. I think, again, as I said, I've said this way too many times already in this video, but the Civic platform really gives them an advantage in the space department, and it really shows.
Now I'm behind the wheel of the 2023 HR-V, so let's get the numbers out of the way. This has a naturally aspirated 2-liter petrol motor mated to a CVT gearbox. This engine has been in duties in Honda since many years. We used to have a Honda Civic in 2006 with this motor. It's been 17 years and this motor is still duty. In fact, I believe this is perhaps one of the last few Hondas in the world with this motor. So it's good to have a connection with this engine again, but I sorely feel this engine feels out of place in 2023. Let's see how this car drives. Slot it into drive, and this engine picks up. The low end torque is actually pretty good. You don't actually have to floor the throttle to get any sort of quick movement, especially in bumper to bumper traffic. The engine has about 154 horsepower, and it's mated to a CVT, which is funny because the car I had, the Civic, had a torque converter, so that felt a bit more sprightly. This with the CVT feels a bit restrained, and as you know, with CVTs, it's just holding the revs at red line the whole time, and it feels a little strained, to be honest. I'm on a very patchy road, and as you can see, the ride is really good. It soaks up bumps really well, hardly anything filters into the cabin, which is honestly one of its USPs. Actually, you can take it off the road, you can take it on bumps without any concern, because also this car has all-wheel drive. It's available on most variants. This is the top of the line EXL, so this has it at standard, and it's a very useful thing to have because you can then take this car, it has the ground clearance to clear most things, and you can just, you know, tackle the rough stuff with somewhat ease. There is no sport mode in this car. There are drive modes, but it's in economy. There's snow and there's normal. That's it. No sport mode or anything. lots of feedback. The ride, coupled with the ride, it's actually really easy, so you can navigate through bumps and everything. It's got pretty good feedback, so when you turn into corners, you can actually feel a lot of the corner. You can feel the road, you can understand how much lock to put in, and just like how I navigated a big pothole right now, it's actually really nice. It's really easy. The engine, if I floor it, see, you can hear the CVT and it's just making a noise, but it picks up very well, so I would say it has decent pep. It's not the fastest car if you measure numbers 0 to 100, because I think it's around 10 to 11 seconds, which is slow, I would say, for North American standards. For other markets, for Asian markets, it's not too bad, but for standards here, I would say it's not the fastest package I've driven or we have reviewed on this channel. But again, not a bad thing. However, if you think it's not that fast, perhaps it would be efficient, and it's not the most efficient car as well. On the highways, you can get up to 7.8 to 8 liters per 100 kilometers, and the city, it goes up to almost around 10 liters per 100, which is again not the best in the segment, but it's not too bad considering the engine capacity. As you can see, I'm putting it through some corners and it feels really, really good. However, there is another big downside while driving the car, and that's the brake pedal feel. The brake pedal feel is honestly either it's on or off. It's very difficult to modulate the brake pedal, and that can sometimes result in jerky braking, which can be disturbing for passengers, even the driver. So I wish Honda nailed the brake pedal feel and the braking much better. But yeah, aside from that, it's got good, very neutral dynamics, which is perfect for someone who just wants a car to go from A to B.
In conclusion then, the 2023 Honda HR-V, well, I think it's a very solid package in today's offerings in the market. It's got really good space, it looks pretty good, the boot space is decently practical, it rides really well, it's got enough kit, not the most tech-laden car in the segment, but it's got enough kit to keep you happy, and it's got the Honda badge, which means it's going to be reliable. The fuel economy could have been better, I believe, and the engine and gearbox combination could have also been a bit better. Especially Honda has nice engines in their lineup, especially the 1.5 VTEC turbo. This K series motor does not feel at home in any car in 2023. So, but if it had the 1.5 turbo, it would have probably been really perhaps the best combo, perhaps the best entry-level car anybody could have bought today, because it has all-wheel drive as well. It's just perfect for Canadian weather as well. So Honda could have perhaps improved a little better. Maybe they're saving it for a midlife update, but in its current form, the HR-V is still very, very competent. And if you're in the market to buy a car, especially your first car, this is a very, very good choice.